I'm going to repeat myself. Going live on YouTube is not something that I normally do, and I thought, you know what? I went live on Facebook. I think was it yesterday? I think yesterday, and I was playing around with my YouTube, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to try out this live on YouTube thing. It's new to me, so I'm hoping that I have done it correctly. I'm just going to share it to my Facebook page so that I can direct people over if they want to join. I'm just going to pop it on there. So if you pop on live, let me know where you're joining from, or if you're watching the replay, I'd love to know. I'm just typing with lots of typos. Whoopee. Okay, just post. It doesn't have to be perfect, Kayla. Okay, no, we're not doing it. Don't you love it when Facebook reminds you to do lots of different things to your posts and says, do you want to add paid promotions and all kinds of weird things? Okay, I think that's all good. I think I've shared it. So now they can see. Okay, hopefully we're all good. So I am going to flip the camera around and do some live crafting with you all, but I thought I'll pop on. Full disclosure, I have a top on and, I have a top on. I've actually got my pajama bottoms on. So it's kind of funny because I chucked a top on my top half and kept my pajama bottoms on because it is a terrible day. My son woke up today, so he's actually home because he's homesick. So he may pop in, you may get an Elijah interruption. So I'm not home alone. I've got a mum bun in, my kid's home from sick from school. So yes, I'm home, not home alone today. I've got a kid home from school. So I will just keep this open so I can see. So today I wanted to pop on, I've got my coffee ready and it'll probably be cold and I won't finish it. I'm going to pop on. I've actually been sitting here. I was sitting here helping someone with something last night at the computer and I thought I'm a multitasker. I cannot sit and do something. Like I can't sit and watch Netflix without doing something with my hands. I don't know if it's a bad habit, if I should just Netflix and chill, but I can't. So I will take out, it's actually funny, I'll show you something because I'm pretty sure I've got it just down here somewhere. Yeah, I do. So this is me. This is how I Netflix and chill. So this is the Bloom Where You're Planted paper. I do not Netflix and chill because this is all fussy cutting. So I cannot sit still when I am watching something. So I will take out a pack of something to do. If I am trying to sit still, I can't. So last night I was sitting at my desk helping with something and I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to sit here and just do that. I've got to do something. So I had this stamp set here and I know this is backwards. I will flip the camera and I know that's got a glare. So this is a Feels Like Home stamp set that you can earn for free at the moment. So you can't buy this stamp set. It's actually a freebie. So it's free at the moment with Celebration. So if you don't know what Celebration is, it's a 2-month sale with Stampin' Up. So it's this catalogue just here. So for every $90 that you spend, so in increments, it still adds up. So if you spend $180, you get 2 or 1 level 2 product. I'll explain in a second. You get a free product and that's only during August and September in my online store. So this is one of the freebies that I'm using today. So there's level 1 and level 2 products. So level 1 products, they're all indicated by the circles. So this is one of the circles which says it's free with a $90 order. There's, I think, 2 products in here. Yep, there's only 2. There's a couple of products here where the circles say free with a $180 order. Now, the reason they're $180 is because that's a set of dies. And this one here is a larger stamp set. So it's quite a big stamp set. So those ones are free with a $180 order. But the stamp set I'm going to use today, by the way, I totally have these on the way. This is the sheep set, and full disclosure, I have a Welsh friend and his name's Sean. So I know that he won't watch this, but Sean the sheep, I'm totally going to make him a funny card because I think it's hilarious. But anyway, the stamp set, I'm getting off track now. The stamp set I'm going to use today is this one here, which I have featured. I did show a card. I don't know if you're going to see my pajama bottoms. I did show a card on my Instagram and my Facebook Live, which was this one here. And that was actually inspired by this sample in the catalogue where they did the Hippo and Friends dies. I did the same thing and used the brick embossing folder and also added another celebration product, which is this bedazzling paper here. So that was another sample I did. But I'm not going to talk too much more, but this is the mini catalogue too. This one just came out, so you can shop these are the things you can buy. So this catalogue is now available, everything in here. There are some items in low inventory and back ordered, but you can still order them and they're all coming into the warehouse very soon. But you can contact me if you have any queries as to what may be low in stock or back ordered. But all of those are available, as well as our annual catalogue. I did use some of these products in my Facebook Live the other day with the sunflowers. So any of these products, a combination of both catalogues, every $90 spent will earn you free products. So that's enough rabbiting on. Actually, here's the card I did with the combination of products. So this one used the celebration paper with that peaceful, perfectly plaid. So that one you can see on my Facebook. So I'm going to flip the camera around so you can see the card that I am going to make today. And I'm so used to Facebook that I don't, I've got to get used to the buttons on here. Okay, so let's give this a flip. And I totally didn't cover up the camera then. Okay. So please excuse while I just get the camera right, because I'm not used to this whole YouTube setup. Although it's not that much different to Facebook, I will admit. Okay, so I think I might need to come down a bit. Okay, so it was funny. I was on my Facebook the other day and I was talking about stamping blends colouring. And I was like, I don't actually often share some videos sometimes because I may have been playing with blends and I don't want to bore you. But someone actually said they find it relaxing to sit and watch colouring. So I thought, you know what? I'll come on here and I will share what I've done. So there is a bit of colouring. So this is the card that I'm going to make today. So this is using the Feels Like Home stamp set and this really large image here. And this may scare some people because they're going to look at this and go, how on the earth do I colour that? So I actually had a play with it last night and thought I'll come on and show you. I actually forgot all about this stamp here. I might have to do another card featuring that one. And I've used this beautiful embossing folder, which is one of my favourites. And I always forget the name. I should write the names of my embossing folders on them because I always forget the names of them. But I'm sure when I actually look at what it is, it'll be obvious. Tasteful Textile 3D embossing folder. It's one of my favourites. When the subtle embossing folder left us, I made new friends with that one. So this one is that. And I'm also going to use the Stitched Sweetly dies and show you how to change those up. And for the sentiment, I'm going to use the stitch rectangles. So let's get colouring because I'm going to show you. The colouring is going to take a moment. So I'll get started. So I've got some pieces. These are all in metric measurements, but taking a sip of my coffee. You'll just need a scrap of Whisper White, and that's just to stamp the little flower pot on towards the end. A scrap of crumb cake for the sentiment, and this bit of crumb cake just needs to be large enough to cut out the largest Stitch Sweetly rectangles, the scalloped rectangle here. So you just need a piece large enough for that. This piece of basic white thick, now you probably want to use thick because we're going to be colouring with blends, needs to be probably a little bit larger than this because you're going to stamp the large image from the Feels Like Home on there. I've got a piece of the copper foil and I cut mine to a 1 1/4 inches, and I don't know why I use that measurement because in centimetres it's 3 centimetres by 14.1 this way. So I'm just going to do in metric measurements today. So 3 centimeters by 14.1. And then this is, oh no, I've already spoken about that. That was for the Stitch Sweetly. Then my layer of crumb cake is cut to 9.7 by 14.1. And then a bit of cinnamon cider, one of my favourite colours. I love cinnamon cider. This is cut to 9.9 by 14.3. And they're my layers for the outside. I've got a crumb cake card base. So this is half a sheet of A4, scored in half at 10.5. And then I've got another layer of cinnamon cider cut to 9.9 by 14.3. And a layer of basic white thick cut to 9.7 by 14.1. And I've got a small strip of the copper foil for the inside of the card, and this is cut to 1 centimeter by 14.1. So they're all my pieces that I will need for my card. Normally I don't actually remember all the measurements, and I don't actually know how I did. So I'm going to start with my colouring. So I'll need my piece of the basic white, and I'm going to bring in my Stamparatus. So this is our stamp positioning tool, and I find this really helpful because with detailed stamps like this, you don't always get them perfect first go. Now, if you have this on a block, you're not going to be able to position that back to restamp it because it's just not going to be possible. So if you actually have this, so these stamps you can just lift up, and if you have this in here, you'll be able to just position your cardstock. So I'm going to position it butted right up against the top corner. Now I don't have the foam pad in because this is a cling mount stamp, so it's already got the foam there, so you don't need the foam. Now I'm going to position this in with a bit of leeway on either side because it's going to be cut out with that Stitch Sweetly die. Now once you stuck that on top of the cardstock, all you do is pop your plate down, press that, and that will stick to the plate. Then we're going to want to use, because we're going to be using stamping blends, we want to use our Memento Black Ink, which is our water-based dye ink, because we're going to be using alcohol-based markers. So we don't want to use an alcohol-based ink, otherwise it will bleed. So I'm going to stamp this down with the Memento, and then I'm just going to give this a press. You want to give it a good press all the way around. And then once you've done that, lift up. Now, that was a pretty good impression, to be honest, but I can see some areas that probably need to be a little bit darker. So I'm going to re-ink my stamp again. And then go back in. And because that paper's still in position, it's going to be able to be stamped down in exactly the same spot. And you're going to get a really nice impression. There we go, like that is perfect. So using the Stamparatus makes it really easy. Then you can go in with a stamp chamois. So we sell these simply chamois, and I keep mine in a stamp case to keep it nice and damp. And all you need to do is give your stamp a wipe down, and that's got that nice and clean. But I'm just going to set mine aside. You peel those off, but I'm just going to set mine to the side for now because I don't want to take too long on the video. So I'm going to zoom the video in a little bit so that you can see a bit more of my colouring. Okay. Hopefully you'll be able to see okay. Okay, so I'm going to pull out quite a few markers, but I'll pull out one at a time. And now I've got to remember which ones I used. So I'm going to start with some cinnamon cider. So I'm just going to pull in my dark cinnamon cider for the decking. Now, I'm not going to be too perfect. Now, I'm by no means a perfect colourer. Is that a word, colourer? It's probably not. But I'm trying not to get my head in it. So I'm just adding the darker bits towards the edge there. And I'm just going to go in with my light. And sort of in a circular motion where the dark is, blend that colour out. And then add some light. Now there's no end to where this image stops. So I'm just kind of going out a little bit, and I did do something I'll show you in just a second. Okay, so I might add just a little bit around those pots. So because there's no end to the image, I did bring in my colour lifter. So we have this stamping blend called a colour lifter, which is just a clear marker, and I sort of added a little bit to where where the image ends, and it kind of helped bleed it out a little bit. One of mine's a bit dry. It might be that one. I've got two, so I knew that one of them was a bit drier, so I think yeah, I might need to put the other one away so that I stop using it. Put that one there. So that will take a minute to work, but it kind of helps bleed that out a little bit. So I might keep my cinnamon cider out for just a moment, but what I'm going to work on now is the bricking in the back, and I've done that with my soft suede. So I've got the dark, all of our coffee needed. All of our blends come in a 2-pack, so in a dark and a light. So they can't be purchased individually. They all come in a dark and a light. But the reason for that is because you need both to get the blend look. So I'm just going to add my dark soft suede to the bricking, and I'm just going along the edges here. I should have worn my glasses. You should see what my eyeballs look like right now. I'm straining them to see, because this is quite a detailed image. So I'm just going to go around in some areas where I think it would be a bit darker, and I'm also going to go above the door. Now, you do want to work, when you're working with the blends, you do have a time period kind of in which you'll be able to blend them out. So you don't want to leave this for too long before you go and add your lighter colour. So I've gone and added some dark. Now I'm going to come back in, and where I started, I'm going to come back in and add the lighter colour. So the light soft suede, and just blend this out. Get the nice blend. And you can go back in after you've given this a blend. You can go back in and add some more dark if you've lost some of your definition. So you don't need to worry too much if you feel like you've lost some of the bits that you wanted to be a bit darker. You can go back in and add those back. Now in between the, is it the spokes of the bike? It'd be the wall. So doing the bricking at the back is probably the most difficult part of this image. But I find this kind of thing very therapeutic. So I'm just going to go, and in fact now I've done in between all those little bits, I can change ends. We have a brush tip end and a nib end. So this will help you apply colour in a quicker, it's a lot quicker to add colour with the brush tip end. So I'm just going to add it along there. Now I'm going to go back in with my dark and just add a few bits of dark in where I feel like it has lost some of the darker bits that I wanted. particularly around where the bricks are. You don't have to add too much. Now I'm going to go in on the other side here. So I'm doing one side of the wall at a time. Now this side you've got the tree, so I'm sort of doing in between some of the leaves because you're going to be able to fill in that the tree bit with some green, so you don't have to go into every little nook and cranny there. Oh, I really need my glasses. Okay, so I'm going to go back in with the light again. Once you've done the wall, it's actually quite, it's not too bad of an image to colour. This is such a beautiful stamp set. I think this is one of the hidden gems in the Celebration catalogue because I know that I went straight for that beautiful glimmery paper and all the fun cutesy things, but I actually fell in love with this stamp set too. I'm not sure what drew me to it, but something about it just felt homey. So I did love this one. I've been really gravitating towards some very different things for me lately. I'd love to know what your favourite Celebration, for those that have checked out the catalogue, I'd love to know what your favourite Celebration product is or has been. I love hearing about everyone's favourites. I've seen a lot done with the beautiful penguin. I think the penguin paper's been a clear favourite. I think everyone knows that the bedazzling paper is definitely my favourite. I may be ordering 2 more packs of them because I've got FOMO, and if it sells out I'll be really sad because I won't have enough in my stash. I know what will happen. Celebration will end and I'll have lots of the bedazzling paper left and I'll be like, what on earth did I order that much of that for? So I'm just going to go and add a little bit more light to the edges here. I've pretty much got my wall done, so I'm just going to go and add just a little bit more dark into some areas. There we go. So that's our beautiful wall done. Now I'm going to bring in my, oops, I'm chucking markers everywhere. I'm going to bring in my crumb cake blends, and there's this beautiful little hanging basket up here. So I'm just going to add some crumb cake blends to this one. So I added some dark, went over it with the light, and now I'm coming back in with the dark. Same thing to the basket on the front of the bike. So I've gone in with my dark. I'm going to go in with the light to blend it out. And then back in with my dark to re-add the highlights. Now I think I've done the pot down here with crumb cake. So I'll blend that out. Add some dark, and then I've done the door frame, so I'm just going to add some dark crumb cake, blend that out, go back in with my dark, and then so this is just the door frame. So some people like to do their light first and then go in and add their dark, or add their dark first and then go in their light. I'm a bit of a, it doesn't actually matter, you can do either or. I tend to add dark, then add light and go back in with dark. It really doesn't actually matter. You can do either way. They're still going to blend. This is so pretty. Now I'm doing the opposite of what I said I do. Now that I've actually chosen the colours, because I'm not sitting here deciding what colours to use, this is actually coming together a lot quicker than it did last night. Because I was sitting here, it was like picking children between what blends I was going to choose. And you know what? Now that I've coloured all of that, I have just realised I've forgotten a whole section of this back wall, because through this bike there is actually wall there, and there is also decking, so I'll just add a little bit there. And luckily I didn't put my markers away, because I can just go in and add that in. Then I'm going to grab some, which one's this one? Dark Smoky Slate. And I'm just going to do the wheels of my bike in some dark smoky slate. Oh, sorry, these are, what are they, tires? And I'm also going to do the bike seat. Oh, and the little pedal here. I've got so many markers out, it's not funny. And I'm going to do this little pot here in some dark soft suede as well. And just blend that one out. And then the little door knocker, I'm just going to do in some cinnamon cider and the little door handle. Now the bike itself, I'm going to drink some coffee quickly. The bike itself, I wanted a nice pink one, although this is the original card. So I did a pink one, but now I'm thinking, just because I'm live, let's change it up and do a Bermuda Bay. So I'm going to, this is a very small section to colour, so I'm using the nib end and I'm very lightly touching it because it's a very small area to colour. So you don't want to go too much out of the lines. It's okay if you do a little bit. I did on my original. It's very hard to stay in the lines, especially when you're not wearing glasses. I just say it's meant to be that way. And it's a vintage bike, so you go around the wheel trims. So that one was a pink bike, and this one we're having a blue bike. And we're going to do something cute in a minute. Okay, so I'm also going to grab my light pool party, and I'm just going to do the nib end. I'm just going to do a little bit of the window panes. I'm not actually colouring the whole thing. I'm just adding a little bit of colour there for that one actually. And I was also going to do the little pot over here in some blue. I actually really don't need to blend that one out. Now let's add some colour to our flowers in our baskets. So I'm just going to add some granny apple green to this little basket here. It's got a little bit of a hanger there, so I'll just colour that one in. Now I've done some shaded spruce over here with these little leaves coming out of this pot. So I'm just going to add some dark. And then my son is jumping around like a banshee. So much for being sick. There's no carpet in this house. It's all wooden floors, so you can hear it. Then I'm going to go in and add some polished pink. So I'm going to add it to these little flowers over here, which this gets mostly covered up, to be honest, in the final card, so I'm not worrying too much about that. The little basket here of flowers, I'm actually adding pink flowers. It's so adorable. So this is a blends galore card today. So I'll pop those ones away. Then the tree in this card I did in Just Jade, but I could do something, not Just Jade, sorry. I did that one in Soft Succulent. But how about we mix it up and do this one in Just Jade for something a bit different. So I'll add some darker sections to the tree. So there's no real, this is kind of, you just want to make sure all the bushy white bits are filled in. So I'm just adding some dark sections, and then I'm going to go in with my light and sort of add some light sections just for some variation in colour. I actually really like the Just Jade. So the original card was Soft Succulent, but this colour is the Just Jade blend. It's really pretty. So just make sure all those white bits that you left over from the wall are filled in. And then for the door, I'm going to keep the door the same because I really liked it, and I'm going to use mint macaron. So I'm just going to add darker colour to each of the panels, and then around each of the edges I'm adding darker colour, and sort of around the whole frame will be darker. Then I'm going to blend it all out with the light mint macaron. I don't know if you can hear, we've got some sunshine and the weather said rain all day. I'm actually kind of sad that my son's home because normally I'd be out walking. But it is someone's out mowing the lawn, so you might be able to hear them. Okay, so I'm just blending out all of the mint macaron, and then I'm going to go back in with my dark and add some more definition with the dark. So I'm just going to add a little bit more. So pretty. So that's the whole front done. Now before we put the blends away though, I'm just going to pull in my little scrap here and stamp the little pot image. So the little pot image is this one just here, because we're going to use that. So I'm just going to use a little block for that because we don't really need, it's not a big image, so we can just stamp it out with a block. So for that one, I'm just going to use my crumb cake to do the little pot. This is so much fun. Okay, now I can actually put some markers away and get them off my desk. Okay, so let's put the mint macaron away. Okay, so then I'm going to pull out the granny apple green and just add some green to my little bits of, I was going to say leafery. That makes a lot of sense. So for those just joining or watching the replay, we're using the Feels Like Home Celebration sets. This is one of the ones that you can earn free at the moment with a $90 order. Such a pretty set. Now I'm going to bring back in my polished pink and just very lightly colour each of those flowers. And there we have, oh, I forgot a step entirely. I think it can still work. So to blend out these edges, go and add our colour lifter along the edges. It might still work. I'm not sure. I think it is working actually. I can see it working. Just add a little bit and it sort of bleeds them out a little bit. Okay. So what I might do is just zoom out a little bit. Okay, so now what we want to do is actually cut this out. So we're going to cut this out with our Stitch Sweetly dies. So they are these ones here, and you want to get your largest scalloped rectangle. And I'm going to use just a little bit of washi. Gosh, that colour lifter is very strong because they're alcohol markers. That one's very strong. I'm just going to use a bit of washi to hold that down. And I'm going to run that through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, which is just here so I can bring it in. So I'm just running this through with my standard plates. And then before I put that away, I'm just going to peel up the die. And with my scrap of crumb cake we set aside earlier, I'm just going to run that through and cut out one in crumb cake. So the same size. And then we can move that out of the way. Okay. So that's what we need there. Bit. Okay, so the cool thing about this is what I thought I would do is keep the stitch edging around the white, but I wanted the scalloped border. So what I did was brought in, you could just do your Stampin' trimmer, but what I did was lined this up so I could cut just against that stitched edge. So if you can see there, I've kept the stitched edge. So you want to keep the stitched edge on, so cut just beside that on all four sides. So what that does then is when you put it against the crumb cake one, you're actually putting it over the top of that that stitched edge, so you get a really cool border with the scallop, and that fits perfectly because we don't have a stitched rectangle that fits this one perfectly, but doing it this way you kind of get a really nice border like that. So then I'm just going to use some liquid adhesive to stick that onto my piece of crumb cake, adhere that down. I'm going to add a little bit of Winker Stella to my bike cream to have a sparkly bike, because you know who doesn't love a sparkly bike. And I'm going to add a little bit to my bunch of flowers there too, because you know I just love Winker Stella and I'll look for any reason to use it. Now let's bring our other pieces in. We won't need the inside pieces yet, but for this piece of crumb cake, for the outside layer, we're going to use the Tasteful Textile 3D embossing folder. And I want to protect my piece of crumb cake. Now our embossing folders have a black line where you can line up the cardstock, so I'm going to line that up with the black line, although you don't really need to with this one. And I'm going to bring back in my stamp and cut and emboss machine, otherwise known as Gerard. And for the embossing sandwich, you just need your number 1 plate and then your number 4 plate. This is the one used for the embossing folders. So I'm just going to run that through. And you only need to do it once. Super smooth. Now I can pop those aside, pull that out, and look at the gorgeous texture on that. It's so pretty. This is one of my favourite embossing folders. Now what we can do is, that will be going on our cinnamon cider, but not just yet. What we're going to do is get our larger piece of copper foil. I've actually been using copper foil quite a bit lately. I'm obviously loving it. And I'm just going to stick that on the bottom of our embossed piece of crumb cake. I'll just let that adhere for a second while I drink some coffee. Now, I'm going to take some linen thread. Can I stretch this? Let's see. Those that know me know that I love my linen thread. So I'm going to wrap this around twice. Can we make it? I think we can. And then I'm going to tie a bow. Okay. Gosh, there's some loud cars on this street that I've just moved here, and the cars are really loud. Okay. So once you have got your bow how you like it, and because it's a video, I like to fiddle with the bows a lot. This one just wants to turn. Maybe that's just the way it's supposed to be. Linen thread's actually quite good. You can sort of manipulate linen thread to go the way you want it. Okay, so I'll just pop that tail there. Oh, that's quite cute. Okay, then I'm going to stick that to my layer of cinnamon cider. Okay. Like so. My son has not come in at all, which I'm surprised. Mind you, I did tell him that I was going to be filming a video, so maybe he's feeling camera shy. Okay, so then this piece here is actually going to go up on some 3D foam, but we can stick this to our card base first. So I'm just going to get some liquid glue and adhere this to my crumb cake card base. And then I'm going to grab some dimensionals. And I'll just peel off the backings there. To add this to my card. I love adding dimension to everything. I would be sad if the world ran out of dimensionals. I don't think I'd cope. So we've done lots of blends colouring today. If you haven't got blends in your stash, I definitely think you need them because they are so much fun. So I'm just going to adhere that to the card. Now, the next thing we need to do is, where did it go? There's our cute little pot. Okay, so we just need to fussy cut this little one out. So I'm just going to, there's no die or anything for this. You can just use your scissors. So the biggest tip's to move the paper, not the scissors. So you just want to curve the paper around. It's only a small image, so it's not too bad to fussy cut. We're almost done with the fussy cutting. Okay, there's our little pot which we're going to use in just a second. But what we want to do is grab our scrap of crumb cake, and the sentiment that comes from the stamp set that says, "I can't thank you enough." And I'm just going to ink this up in some Memento Black. So just our black ink. And I'm just going to stamp this down onto our scrap of crumb cake. And with that, I'm going to take, now I've got 2 magnets because there's so many dies. Our stitched rectangles are such a great basic to have because look how many rectangles you're getting in that great set. I think I can actually have a look, but these rectangles are, let's have a look. The rectangles are $61, so the item code is 151820, but you get 13 dies. Such a great basic to have because you're getting so many and they're so great for so many things. The other one I used today, the Stitch Sweetly, was released for the stamp set ages ago, but it's a great one to have on its own. I love that one. But this one lines up perfectly with this sentiment just here. So I tested it out last night when I was sitting here and I thought, oh, that's perfect. It fits brilliantly just here. So add a bit of washi tape, and then I'm just going to cut this one out. I won't bring the die cut machine for this one. I'll just do it to the side. So I'm just going to run that through and then pop that out, and we have, look how cute that is. It fits brilliantly there, so I'll just pop that one up there. So now we've got our fun sentiment, and that one's just going to sit up here. So we're going to need a dimensional on just this side here because it's going to sit a little bit up, so it's going to need some dimension to help it sit up. So I'm just going to add some dimensionals to that side and some liquid adhesive just here to help it sit. So we can just adhere that down. And then our little pot is going to go up on some dimension to this side on, so up on some dimension on some dimensionals. Is there enough dimensional words in there? So I'm just going to add 2 little mini dimensionals and stick my little pot down here. And I'm just going to add a little bit of Winker Stella to this little piece. And now I think I'm going to add some splatters of Winker Stella to the background there just because I can. That's actually the outside of the card done. Look at that. But I will do the inside quickly. because, you know, what's a card without the inside decorated? So the inside's really super easy. I haven't done much to it at all. All I've done is taken the strip of copper foil. So I'll add some adhesive. Oops. I'll add some adhesive all over my fingers to start off with. So I've added a little bit of adhesive. Do I have enough linen thread, or will I skip this step? I literally just have enough. Look at that, it's meant to be. Okay, so I will grab some tear and tape. I just finished a roll of linen thread, guys. So I'm just adding the linen thread strip there, and I'm going to stick this to my layer of crumb cake. And then I've got the sentiment, your friendship feels like home to me. And I'm going to stamp that in some cinnamon cider. My cinnamon cider ink pad is very inky, so I kind of just want to test that for a minute. Hopefully this inks up okay. Yeah, it is very inky, but that's okay. Your friendship feels like home to me. Okay. I'll add a little bit of adhesive to this piece, and then that's going to go on to the inside of my card. And there's a beautiful inside done. And there we have it. 2 cards done with this beautiful Feels Like Home set that you can earn for free at the moment in the beautiful celebration catalogue. So here's the page it comes from. The Feels Like Home set, free with a $90 order at the moment in my shop, which is in the video description. You can follow the links to shop my store to earn any of the free products. There's actually loads in the catalogue if you haven't seen it. If you live in Australia and don't have a demonstrator, I'm happy to send you a catalogue. There's a link to request a catalogue in the video description. But there's lots of free products, so you can get the bedazzling paper for free. There's this beautiful Penguin Designer Series paper that you can get for free. Look at that cute card. The Feels Like Home set that I've showed today. The beautifully penned 12x12 paper is a freebie. The Peaceful Prints 12x12 paper you can earn free. The beautiful sheep stamp set's another one you can earn for free, as well as the sheep dies to match. So put a $180 order and you can get a sheep stamp set and a sheep die set for free. So that's really cool. The texture and frames set you can earn for free with a $90 order. And then there's 2 things that you can earn free with a $180 order, and that's the Summer Shadows dies that actually coordinate with the Shaded Summer stamp set in the annual catalogue. So I'll show you in just a second. The Delicate Dahlia set's also another free one you can earn with a $180 order. So this one just here, in case you missed it, this one coordinates with a set out of the annual catalogue, which is this one here. So you can actually earn these dies free with a $180 order, but the dies actually cut these images out. So yeah, it cuts out this one, and this one, I think. And it also cuts out some individual stuff as well. So a really cool set to have, because then you're going to be able to cut out all of those things from the catalogue. How cool is that? So there's lots of freebies available at the moment, only for August and September. The other couple of benefits in August and September is that if you place an order of over $500, you also get an additional. So if you place an order of $500, you would get 5 free celebration choices of $90, or you could mix it up and get 2 $180 ones and one $90 one. And you'd also get this free stamp set, or you could host a party with me online or in person. And if your party sales go to $500, you get 12% in stamp and rewards, plus you get this free. the other benefit during celebration is you can join my team. So for $169, you can choose $235 of whatever product you like, and that can be any of the new stuff or the current catalogue, so anything from the mini catalogue or the current annual catalogue. So $235 of whatever product you like. And the additional bonus, that's you get free shipping. So $169 is the total cost. And then you'll get 20% off any future order. Plus you get to join my amazing Sassy Stampers team, and you get all my tutorials that I list for free. And at the moment, you get to choose any of these bundles for free in addition to your starter kit. So some of these are worth almost $100. So you're getting an amazing amount free. So $169 and you get to choose $235 of product means that you're getting $66 free there plus free postage, but you're also getting an additional free bundle. So it's an amazing offer to join at the moment. You don't have to run a business, do videos or anything. You can just enjoy the discount as a hobby. So you can get a discount, it's like being a VIP. So I would just flip the camera around. So I hope you had fun crafting with me today and seeing me make and colour these fun cards today. So that was that one. And then I showed the other day this one. So 2 fun samples using the Feels Like Home celebration set for something a little bit different. I had a lot of fun. Be sure to pop over to my Facebook page because I do go live on there quite frequently. And I know this video is really crooked. I do go live on the... That's what happens in the craft room with Kayla. I do go live on there quite frequently, but I'm going to try and pop onto YouTube a bit more and say hello to you guys. So thanks so much for liking my channel. Be sure to like and leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you and where you're watching from. So I'm going to love you and leave you and go, and I promised to make a yummy treat for my son. I said, Mummy's going to do a live video. I'll come and make you a treat after I'm done. So I'm going to go do that and give him a big cuddle. So I'm going to love you and leave you. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.